Points.
Warm greetings to you all, and welcome to another episode of the Broad Points Podcast. It's me, your host, the broad that points, the broad with the points. I am Tyler the Lady. To start off this podcast, I want to say, be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Because you never know what is going on in someone's world. And the behaviors that we notice in ourselves, those do bleed out into the external world. Whether you want to or not, right? That's why they say the people closest to you are the people that can get on your nerves the most. Right? Because you think it's okay to show them a little bit of the darkness. The darkness! And not that I believe in a thing called love the darkness, but, you know, that shadow side. People always talk about the shadow work. And really, truly, we have to, it starts with us, you guys. We have to look internally. And we have to say, hey, how is this internal monologue affecting me? How is this internal monologue affecting my friends? How is this affecting my family, my job, my hobbies? It's not always easy. This is coming from someone who has lived a long life of putting herself down and pushing herself to the side in service of others. Right? I thought that if I was mean to myself and I was hard on myself because that's how I was raised, it would work out in everybody's favor. But the truth is, the meaner I am to myself, the more unhappy I am. Regardless of how nice anybody else is to me, it starts with me. It starts with my internal monologue. And so, truly, on a scorching hot day in the desert, I say to you, be cool, be kind. And if you're still using VHSs, don't forget to rewind. Oh, remember when VHS was a thing? That's so wild. I feel like the evolution of technology, specifically in the entertainment industry, right? It went from just like VHS to DVD to Blu-ray to streaming all so quickly. And so even when you notice yourself kind of veering off of the course of kindness, right? When you see yourself maybe going down that path of pain and criticism, stop. Just stop. Stay the course, right? Stay the kind course. Because the kinder we are to ourselves, the more compassion that we will have for others. And I think of multiple times, too, where maybe we perceive something that someone else said as hurtful because we've been hurtful to ourselves. And we don't know what's going on with someone else. We're not a constant supervisor of everyone else in our life. That's just nuts. And who has the time? Who? Do you? Because I don't. My time is dedicated to me. This is my life, right? It's your life. Live your life. Be kind to you. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. You are the only person who's going to be in your corner 100% of the time. You go to bed with yourself. You wake up with yourself. Why not like yourself? It's only you got, baby. It's you. You're great. You're wonderful. People love you. Even when you don't feel all that love for yourself, people love you. And I think it's really easy to forget that. I think it's really easy to go underneath of the gray cloud and pull out our umbrella and have ourselves an emo day. one, there's a lot of great emo music out there, so I get it. But two, there are other options. Right? If you don't want to be sad, if you don't want to be depressed, there's an internal change that can happen. But it starts by first being aware of the options. Options. Another word for opportunities. You have several of them. And so, I'll jump into that fundamental phrase for the week now. It is, the universe makes sense. Yeah, guys, the universe, it makes sense. It does. Whether we choose to believe it in the moment or not, that's our personal journey, right? That's our faith. And I'm not telling you what to have faith in. I'm not telling you who to have faith in or how to have faith. I'm just telling you that faith is an option, right? So many people want to have faith in something outside of themselves, right? We talk about that external and internal conflict, and you can choose to show up for yourself. You can choose that the universe, it makes sense. So stay that course, guys. Stay that course. When one door closes, another door opens. Think about the opportunities that are around us. And I know I talked in a previous episode about a rock, right? That one side was a problem and the other side was a solution, right? It's all how we view these things. Is it an opportunity or is it a closed door? You can choose, right? It's all really dependent on the direction in which you're looking. And in coaching class, it's coming to me now, they always talk about your true north, which, can be a little hokey to some people, but choose whatever you want it to be, right? Find your true north. Find yourself. Trust the process along the way, right? But point yourself in the direction in which you want to go. Not the direction that somebody else is telling you that you should go. Ugh. Could with shame, right? Should, gross, barf, nasty. Don't do that. Don't shit on yourself. Allow yourself to relax into the process, to trust the process. If you so choose. Of course, I'm never pushing anything on you guys. Just explaining how I view things and how these fundamental phrases work for me. Right? Because when I'm trusting the process, I am believing that the universe makes sense. Because it's not always pretty. The whole process of stuff can be really messy. It can be really ugly. And I'm thinking about when I was in Austin for a wedding, I knew I needed to get ready. And I need a long time to get ready, you guys. When I'm doing full hair, full makeup, full costume, I need 3 hours. That's just for real. You can laugh at it the same way I do because I feel panicked even just thinking about the fact that I would need 3 hours to get ready for something. That's like majority of the day I'm spending just getting ready. It seems like such a waste. I honestly can't believe that women do it in their day-to-day lives, but kudos to you women. If that is the course for you, if that is the course that makes you feel confident and you want to do it, please do it because you're killing it. My sister, she's like a little Kardashian, dude. She kills it with her makeup. It's beautiful. But it's not for everybody, right? For her, she stays the course because she knows that she's doing her best. She's showing up. She's putting her face together. She's putting... Just amazing. Incredible. You can apply that to your life however you feel, right? It could be makeup. It could be a project. It could be dancing. But the process it could be lengthy, right? In the beginning of the 3 hours of me getting ready, all my makeup bags and hair bags, they're all closed up, they're all zipped up. Then I sit down. Then the process begins. One bag opens. I pull out a brush. Another bag open. I pull out a curling iron. Another bag open. And before I know it, I have all these bags open, all of this stuff all over the hotel room. And then there's little old me sitting there, making it all work. And it's not like when you're doing your hair or when you're doing your makeup, when you just partially do it, that it looks great. I mean, maybe depending on the style that you're going for, but the style that I was going for was like a half side or like a half up kind of hairstyle to the one side, and it was curly, and I knew I needed to fit a tiny little hat in there, so it was all very strategic of like sectioning things out and making sure the rubber bands are in the proper place. It didn't look great. When I just had like 1 or 2 little rubber bands in, when I had, just like the bottom part of my hair curled and not the top, it looks crazy. The mess in the room alone, but then you tie in the fact of like my partially done everything, I look crazy. But if I stop and just think about how crazy I look, I'll never get the rest of it done, right? And that's a perfect example of being our harshest critic, beating ourselves up in the moments when we need to just keep pushing through. And with any makeup, I remember when I first started doing kind of like drag makeup, being really big and bold. For the wedding, I just did beauty makeup. So although it was still very cumbersome amount of labor, it's not as crazy in depth, right? Like in drag, you glue your eyebrows down. Oh my God, that's so nuts. Especially when you use the purple glue on your eyebrows to glue them, because then you just have these crazy purple blocks on your face. It can look nuts, dude. It can look nuts. But the more you add to it, the bigger your creation gets, the more your vision starts to come to reality. All by staying the course. Just trusting that process. It will lead you to your goals. It will lead you to your desires. That is why I'm always saying, don't let that internal monologue deter you from your desires. Allow your internal monologue to fuel your desires, to push you towards your goals, right? Because you can choose to be your biggest cheerleader, or you can choose to be your biggest critic. And I have a tattoo on my right leg, and the tattoo, it's of a deer skull. And in this deer skull, it is colored with like galaxy print, and there's a long story behind this tattoo, but there's a symbol called an unalam. And an unalam is from Buddhist and Hindu culture, right? It's from their traditions, and it represents the path of enlightenment. And I'll share a picture either of the tattoo or of my unalam, of my tattoo or of an unalam. And then you can see exactly what it is and how it makes sense. But they talk about at the bottom of it, there's a spiral. And the spiral starts to unravel, go around from the middle out to the outside, and then it starts to weave and turn in and out, making these knots almost. And then it starts to straighten out at the top. So it's almost like a line as it goes to the top and then a dot. And the spiral, it's representative of our journey of life, of how we're all going through life. And life starts to take those twists and turns, those challenges, those things that are pushing us outside of our comfort zone. Those are those twists and turns. Those are those knots within the unalam. But in every single life, it'll start to straighten out at the end. right? We find our life's purpose, or we find our enlightenment, and we're able to truly be peaceful. They talk about the top of it. There's an extra like dot or two, that being the third eye, right? That's your most enlightened state. And so I absolutely love this tattoo. I had this tattoo before the universe made sense, but now that it makes sense, this tattoo makes so much sense to me. And I'm not advising you to go out and get tattoos, okay? If you want a tattoo and you're an adult, you can get a tattoo. And if you don't want a tattoo, that is also okay. You can just appreciate the symbolism. Ah! Because there's so many different ways that we can choose to receive these messages. There are so many different ways for us to apply these messages, and maybe the universe makes sense. That doesn't feel right to you. Maybe that's like pulling you too far out of your comfort zone to even deal with, right? So finding a way for you to have something palatable, that grounding statement, again, bringing us back to neutral. Because I know when I'm going all wild and saying, oh my God, life is so hard, I hate everything, I know I need to come back to that neutral place, that base level. Where we at? Here we are. And just like the Unalam, life, it's the circle of life. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on the path unwinding. It's the circle of life. And it's the circle of life for me, and it's the circle of life for you. We're all going through it, right? Which is especially why it is important to be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. You know, we're all so eager to give help. Help yourself. Help yourself to some kindness, to some love. Whatever you feel is appropriate, right? Whatever you feel you want, you can have it. I'm here to tell you, you can have anything that you set your mind to. You just got to stay the course. And maybe it doesn't make sense in the moment. I'm not going to lie. There have been times when I've been like, what the French toast is the universe thinking? And then I take a step back. Or maybe I look back, right? Because hindsight, well, that's 2020. And by looking back, by stepping back, I'm able to see that, God, the universe does make sense. Oh, that relationship with that person, it didn't work out because we weren't meant to be. Whether that be, you find somebody better or you find true love with yourself, everything happens for a reason. And I'm not telling you don't listen to your feelings. I'm not telling you to not feel your feelings, because sometimes the universe, even if it makes sense, it can still suck. Oh, I'm so uplifting. The universe can suck. I'm also a realist. I'm never going to deny that I've been through pain. I'm never going to deny that you, are you going through some pain right now? I would never try to lessen that. I would never try to discredit what you are going through. And so, why would we do that to ourselves? Don't discredit what you're going through. Don't discredit your feelings. Allow yourself to fully take it all in, because the more that we take in, the more of the vision, the scenery around us, the environment around us that we take in, the more we can shift our perspective, right? And just having openness to what other people are going through, it really does allow you to have compassion. Just by letting people go. Hey, what's going on with you? Hey, I'm sorry, I took that way wrong. But this is how I perceived that. I don't know what your intention was, but this is how I perceived that. Because as crazy as it is to get something that you don't like from somebody, if they don't know how something made you feel, how will they ever grow? Communication is so important. It is. Communication, right? And when somebody else is going through something, how can you comfort them? How can you empathize with them, right? Empathy. Although some people may be a little bit more inclined to be empathetic naturally, empathy is a skill. You could develop that. There's so many things that they're really just practices. So allow yourself to take some practice. Take some practice rounds. And don't be so hard on yourself. Because you're doing wonderfully, darling. Keep up the great work. And also, don't forget to follow me. Ooh! On social media, you can find me at Broad Points. Or at Tyler the Lady. And if you do want to send me an email, by all means, shoot it over to broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. By doing this, by subscribing, you will then be able to like, rate, review, and see anytime that new episodes come out. Although I will say I've been pretty consistent at releasing them on Mindfulness Monday. So I hope you join me again next week. But in the meantime, I will say that fundamental phrase one more time for you guys to chew on. It is: the universe makes sense.